What's going on, family? It's your boy Abel checking in. Super excited to go ahead and get this stream started, this session started, family. But we do got about 3 minutes before we get this thing on the road. As usual, go ahead and drop your locations in the chat, family, just so that I'm aware that you guys can hear me and that we are all good to go, so that we are able to have another phenomenal session. And today's going to be very, very interesting because we had a very interesting week so far. And we're going to get into all that, right? I'm going to save all the talking, all the rah-rah, all the ranting, obviously for when we get started. But definitely just want to go ahead and let you guys know that I'm excited about tonight. I feel like a lot of information is going to be passed on for tonight. And yeah, let's have another good one. So we're going to get started, guys, in just under 2 minutes and 40 seconds. 2 minutes and 40 seconds. And we will be on the road. Drop those locations, family. Let's get it. Get excited because it's another phenomenal session where we're about to go ahead and get crazy on. Let's go. Yes, family, let's go ahead and get this thing started. What's going on, y'all? Welcome, welcome, welcome to today's stream. It's your boy Abel checking in as usual, ready for another dope session with every single one of y'all. But let me go ahead and see who we got in the building with us tonight. I see we got Las Vegas in the house. What's going on, Sam? Good to see you in the chats. We got Tina in the building, Alabama on the check-in. We got Texas, Trinidad in the house. What's going on, Ken? I see you. Shout out to my Noti gang. I appreciate every single one of y'all that's part of Noti gang. All my Noti gang members, go ahead and drop a Noti gang in the chat. If you got notified for this stream, right? If you were either sent an email, a notification that I'm live, then guess what? You are a part of Noti gang, and I appreciate you for being a part of the familia. I'm actually in the process, guys, of working on a lot of special things for every single one of y'all that's a part of the Noti gang, right? And it's going to be very, very interesting for when I actually do create these things. I don't want to give you guys too much sauce, right? Too much of what it is. I want it to be a surprise for y'all. But just know, I do got a lot of gifts, a lot of surprises, a lot of value type things that I'm going to be giving back to a lot of y'all that are a part of the Noti gang, right? So I see we got Malaysia in the building. What is going on? We got Suriname in the building. Pure Michigan in the house. Shout out to you guys out there in Michigan. We got ATL on the check-in. What's going on, King Lions? Good to see you in the chat, bro. When there wasn't Abel, there was always Kane. Listen, Kane did me dirty, right? If we're talking biblical, you know, Kane did me absolutely dirty, right? But it's all good. You know, I'm still here in real life. I'm here in person right now. And we're going to make the best of this, right? So we got LA in the building. BTC Mommy, what's going on? Good to see you in the chats, right? A. Williams in the house. Shout out to you always saying that Broadway girls. I wish I was able to really play some music on these streams, but then that's not going to allow me to monetize these streams, unfortunately. And all the money that I do eventually make from these sessions, guys, and from these streams, I'm literally going to be pouring it back into you guys with it, giving you guys, you know, free things, right? Free value, whether it's free merch, free shirts, free giveaways, right? Whether it's free trading journals, right? Whether it's a candlestick Bible. I plan on giving all of it back to y'all, right? So I appreciate every single one of y'all do support this channel. I appreciate every single one of you guys as well, you know, that are here really with the intentions of truly wanting to learn and master this amazing skill set that is very masterable, right? I don't even know if masterable is a word, but we're going to go with that, right? Because this is very possible, right? It's not going to be easy. It's not going to be a walk in the park, but it is possible, guys, to actually truly do this full time, right? It's just going to take a lot of work. It's going to take a lot of energy. It's going to take a lot of time for you to actually get to the level that you're profitable, but it is absolutely worth it, right? So that's how I actually want to start off today's session, with a question for every single one of you guys, right? I have to ask you guys with a question real quick, right? The question is, if it takes you, right? Let's just use a hypothetical number real quick, right? If it takes you, say 5 years, let's just use a nice number of 5 years, okay? Typically, it takes most traders around 3 years, 4 years before they really start to see some type of consistency. But let's go with 5 years. If it takes you 5 years to fully master a skill set, which again, I'm going to be honest, with trading, I don't think there's no mastering this skill set, right? I think that this is something that you're going to have to continue dealing with and growing with and developing for the rest of your life, right? I've been trading for over 7.5 years now, and I'm still learning more than I was. I think I'm realistically, I'm probably learning more today than I was when I first got started, right? That's really what it takes, guys, right? So even when you do become profitable, you're still going to want to go ahead and fine-tune and get better and improve down the line, right? So the question that I have for you guys is, even if it takes you 5 years to learn a skill set that you will have with you for the rest of your life, understand, the rest of your life, right? We have a lot of people, guys, from the ages of 16 probably on this call, right? 16, all the way up to probably much higher, okay? But if you are willing to sacrifice, right, does it make sense for you to sacrifice 5 years of your life to eventually master this skill set that's going to allow you to multiply money whenever you truly want for the rest of your life? Is that worth it, yes or no? Let me know in the chats, family. Let me know in the chats, right? Because I know for me, that's a question that I asked myself early on, right? Is it worth risking or sacrificing these next 5 years of your life to be able to learn a skill set that's going to allow you to multiply money for the rest of your life? Is that a valid trade-off, yes or no? Let me know in the chats, right? I need to know. Right, because for me, the trade-off, it makes no freaking sense. I mean, it makes all the freaking sense in the world. Right, when we're talking about risk to reward, we're talking about we have a very low risk here with learning this skill set that can eventually really change our life forever. Right, and the best thing about trading, guys, right, and this is the thing about trading that I truly love. Trading is truly, once you understand it, once you really get it down packed, trading is a cash cow, right? Trading is going to be the ATM machine for you, right? Because once you do start seeing consistency with trading, then guess what you got to do, right? Then you got to take the money that you make and invest it into other avenues. Okay, once you do start to see money in trading and you start to get to large sums of capital, you don't want to just continue trying to only use that to continue trading. You want to start really creating generational wealth, right? Because trading, no matter what anybody tells you, right? Trading is an active type of thing, right? If you're not trading, you're not making money. It's not passive income. This is active income. You have to put in the work every single week if you want to get paid. But what you can do with this active income that you're going to be making is leverage this income to go ahead and create other streams of income, right? Whether it's you getting involved in real estate, right, where you become a landlord and now you do have passive income, right? Or you're just leveraging from the fact that your property could appreciate in value, right? Or whether it's you launching a traditional business that you can go ahead and run, right? Or it's you investing into stock market, right? Or you investing into the crypto market and you starting to create gains through that stream of income. The whole point of us really learning how to trade is to not only try to survive off of trading income, because that's dangerous, right? And I say dangerous, guys, because I really want you guys to really understand this. It's very important to have multiple streams of income. So even if you do become this 7-8 figure trader, one income is far too close to no incomes, right? Shout out to the subscriber in the chat, whoever just subscribed. I see you, Spike2B. I appreciate you for subscribing, right? Welcome to the familia family. Go ahead and drop a welcome in the chat to our recent subscriber. We also got Gyro in the building, just subscribed as well. Go ahead and drop a welcome in the chat to Gyro. I appreciate you for subscribing. Much love to you. Hopefully I'm able to provide you with value. I see we got more Tiara in the building as well. Recent subscriber. You guys are going crazy. Everybody that's subscribing right now, drop a welcome in the chat for her as well. I believe that's a her. I could be wrong. I apologize if I am. Right, but shout out to you subscribing again as well. Right, but family, do you guys understand what I'm saying right now? Right, once you guys, it's important to sacrifice right now, the time right now to learn this skill set. But once you get it, because you will get it, there's no doubt in my mind that you will get this, right? So when you do become profitable trading, then it's time to leverage that extra income into starting other businesses. Okay? I am a trader, right? I trade, but I don't even like to call myself just a trader, right? I like to call myself an entrepreneur that leverage trading as a source of income. Who agrees with me? Right? Who agrees with me in the chat? Right? Who agrees with me in the chat? Let me know. Right? Because when I first started, I really started because I wanted to trade, which again, I was eventually able to get it down packed, right? But now I'm launching other things, right? I'm in the process of launching so many different opportunities. Right now, I'm just an entrepreneur that's leveraging trading as a stream of income. That's very important. That's more important for me, guys, because I'm going to be honest with y'all. As much as I love trading, there's days and there's weeks, guys, where you just don't feel like looking at the charts. Right? There's days and there's weeks, guys, where the charts might not be making sense. You might have a bad day or a bad week. But at least if you created these other streams of income, it's gonna be so much easier for you to bounce back. Right? You guys want to know a secret real quick? Let me know in the chats, right? Drop a 7 in the chat if you want to know a secret. Because y'all got me started today. Right? Y'all got me started today, right? Like I was not planning on going on this rant, but I just love you guys so much, and I always got to keep it real with y'all that it just comes out. Right? But drop a 7 if you guys want to know a secret, right? And it's not even a secret because I say it all the time, but it's a secret for all you guys that are newer. All right, that boy Skag says low-key about to unsub and resub just for the ding, right? It's fire, right? Right, guys, here's a secret. And it's not even a secret. I say this all the time. I'm gonna get close to. I want you to get close. If you're far away from your phone, get close real quick, right? I need you guys to get close. Trading is going to be extremely hard for you if you're relying on it as your main source of income. Let me say another secret for y'all. Trading is going to be very, very difficult for you if it's going to be your only stream of income. Right? Let me give you guys another secret. Trading will be so much easier for you if you are trading without the need to actually make money. Right? This is stuff that people are not going to tell you, right? Because most of the time, people are trying to sell you on things, right? So they're going to tell you all the good parts about trading. Not Abel. Abel's going to keep it 1,000 with you, right? Shout out to David Murphy in the chat. I appreciate you, David, for being subscribed. Massive welcome to you for being a part of the community. I appreciate you, and hopefully I'm able to provide you with some value, right, throughout the course of this session, right? But here's another bar, guys, right? When you are trading because you need to make money, it's very, very difficult for you to actually do it. Okay? I'm just being honest. Right? When you trade out of the need to actually make money, you're making it 1,000 times harder for you. But when you have multiple streams of income, when you have other money coming in, right? Or when you're sitting on a good amount of money where you're not too stressed on if you lose here or if you lose there, trading is so much easier. Trading becomes easier when you're not worried about making money. Right? That's why it's so important, family. Right? Especially right now, at the start of your guys' journey. It is very, very important for you guys to not focus about the money right now. Right? It's very important for you guys to not focus about the money right now. Because when you focus on the money, you end up getting none of it. When you focus on the process, when you focus on the system, when you focus on the rules that you create, when you focus on your edge in the market, then the money is going to be a byproduct of it. Right? You want the money to be a byproduct of what you just learned and what you're applying. You don't want to focus on the money because you're not focusing on the correct things. Focus on the strategy, focus on the rules, focus on the process, focus on the habits. And then when you do all that, money is just a byproduct of you putting it all together. That's the real sauce right here, guys. Right? That's what's really going to take you from a non-profitable trader to a profitable one. But I get it. I was in your guys' position as well. All I focused on was the money because that's all I'm seeing on social media. Right? I see this trader over here buying a brand new car, buying a house. Right? I see all these people, leveraging trading, to go ahead and create the lifestyle that they want. So it's very easy to get swayed in one direction or another. It really is. But you have to focus on your journey, focus on your process, focus on your path to actually seeing success. And I promise you, thinking about the money right now just because you're seeing homeboy up the block making money off it is not going to help you, family. It's not. Right? So let's make sure we're focused on the right things, family, so that we do go ahead and see the results that we are after. But let's go ahead and take a look at the markets, guys, and see what we ultimately got going on. We do have major news going on tomorrow, right? We do have GDP getting released tomorrow, guys. Again, this is going to be a big deal with GDP, right? Right now, they're actually forecasting negative growth to occur. And if we do have 2 consecutive quarters with negative growth, then that is textbook a recession, right? That is textbook, meaning that we are in a recession. So depending on what happens tomorrow, that can really cause a lot of fear in these markets, and it's going to be all over the news. It's going to be a ton of headlines. You're going to see it on social media. You're going to see it everywhere, guys. People saying, oh, recession, right? But the real people that truly understand what's really going on in the background, we've already been expecting this to happen, right? I mean, what's happened over the past 2 years was leading up to this pretty much happening, right? With, obviously us dealing with COVID, them pretty much injecting so much money, it's not even funny, into the economy to try to keep it inflated. And not only did they keep it inflated, but now they really kept it inflated, which is why we're dealing with inflation right now. And now they're trying to backtrack by raising interest rates to try to slow down growth. Right now they're trying to backtrack by reducing the balance sheet for the Fed, right, to try to slow down growth, try to slow down spending, because inflation is absolutely out of control. Right, but not only do we have GDP for tomorrow, which is a major deal, but we also have initial jobless claims as well. Right, initial jobless claims, guys, pretty much measures how many newer unemployed people filed for unemployment. Right, this is the data or the news release, guys, that measures how many people filed unemployment for the first time. Right, so this is utilized as a gauge as well to really predict how strong an economy is, right? High job numbers, or let me put it this way, less people filing for unemployment is looked at as good for the economy. Lower numbers of unemployment is good, right? But if this number comes out that more people file for unemployment, then that's going to be looked at as bad, and we have to understand how to react to these things. Okay? You guys with me? Drop a 7 in the chat if you guys are still with me, if you guys are understanding what I'm saying right now. All right? Drop a 7 in the chat if you guys understand what I'm saying right now, because this is crucial. All right? So again, tomorrow morning at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, we do have major news getting released that will shake these markets. So if you're trading tonight going into tomorrow, just be aware of these things, right? You don't have to be Mr. Economy or a major I don't even know how to say it, right? A major economist, right, to really try to trade it. But if you are newer and you're not that knowledgeable in fundamentals, then just stay out the markets, right? It's that simple, right? If you know that there's major news getting released and you have no idea how to read it or interpret it or how to trade it, then sometimes the best trade is the one that you don't end up taking. That's a bar. That's a bar, right? Sometimes the best trade you take is the one you end up not placing, right? Because you're not aware of what's really going to happen. You're not aware of what's really about to, what can really potentially occur. This is a big deal, right? But we do have to be aware of that, guys, going into tomorrow, right? So let's go ahead and take a look at the markets and see what we ultimately got going on. Right, I'm going to take a look at these pairs right here, right? This is my watch list, guys. These are going to be the major pairs that I pretty much look forward to analyzing, right? The ones that I'm going to focus on a lot more. If you guys do want me to analyze something else, it might have to be at the end of the session whenever I have some time going over these ones, right? Because I'm really trying to like slow down on how many pairs I analyze just so that I can really focus on these ones, right? Because here's another gem, guys, right? Every single currency pair that you trade is pretty much, they have their own personality, right? Just like every single human that you come across, they have their own personality. And if you stay with that person enough, if you're around that human being enough, you start to learn exactly how their personality is. Trading is the same exact way, right? When you're looking at these Forex pairs, each one brings their, or comes with their own personality. So when you focus on a couple pairs or a few pairs and you really stick with trying to master those pairs, you're going to learn the personalities of that pair. You're going to learn exactly when it moves, how it reacts to certain data. And when you actually understand that, it could definitely make your ability to read those markets much easier, much more clear. So that's something I highly recommend you guys to do, especially if you're newer, right? You don't have to look at 1,000 pairs. That's only going to cloud your judgment. Look at a handful of pairs, stick with those ones, know exactly when they move, when they become volatile, and all that good stuff, and then you'll be able to have a much better chance, guys, when you're actually trading. So I'm going to really focus on these ones for now. But if you guys do want me to go ahead and analyze a different pair, I don't mind doing it, but it's probably going to have to be either at the end of the session, or if for whatever reason one of you guys are desperate about it and you guys want to know right away, then you're going to have to do something to really get me to want to look at it, right? Whether it's send a super chat, whatever it is, okay? Because if you provide value to the stream, if you're helping this stream grow by dropping a super chat or just supporting, then I'm definitely going to make you skip the line and I'm going to show you mad love, right? Just because you're showing me love right back. So that's pretty much where we're at, guys. But let's go ahead and take a look at the list here. We do have the dollar index, something I love trading personally, right? It definitely has helped me out overall because we're talking about the daddy dollar here, right? The dollar has been the #1 currency. It's been the currency reserve of the world for a while now, right? And I mean, you analyzing this can pretty much tell you what's going to happen across the board, right? For the most part. Like I literally take some time to analyze this one chart, okay? The dollar index. And if I analyze this, now I have a good idea of what all these other currency pairs are going to do, right? Even though I don't actively trade this one, I still like to get a bias on the dollar itself because it's the one providing, I mean, most of the liquidity in the Forex market is the dollar, right? Like almost 70% of all transactions in the world occur in USD, right? So that's why I'm just a big fan of actually looking at it. But let's go ahead and take a look and see what we got going on here, guys. So the dollar itself is at very, very interesting levels, okay? Because we had this area of supply up here that's pretty much strong levels of supply that has been created since back in 2016, right? Last time we were up here was Most recently was back in 2020, but we had 2016 high, price reacted. We came all the way back up. We seen 2020, price reacted, and now we're back up over here again in 2022, and we did actually clearing this area of supply, but look at the reaction that we seen right after, right? We seen a pretty strong reaction, guys, right back down to the downside for the dollar itself. So what I think can happen, and this is what I'm looking for, I think that we could still see more downside for the dollar itself. Now, I could be wrong, right? Because we are testing another key level that I want you guys to identify, right? This level right here is a pretty strong level that we're playing off, right? This 101.5 level, that is a very significant level that we're also playing off. How do I know? Because previously in the past, this level, guys, has acted as major levels of resistance in the past, right? And one thing that I always tell a lot of traders is that you want to get in the habit of using especially when we're talking about from a technical standpoint, right? You want to utilize previous history to help you predict future price. Use previous price to help you predict future price. We had previous levels of resistance here. Price is now coming back down, and we're starting to see a reaction off of this level. So what I think can possibly happen, and I would not be surprised, right? And I'm going to give you guys multiple scenarios because I'm not a genie. I'm not psychic. I don't know. I mean, I have different ideas, but the market itself is going to do what it wants to do either way, right? I say this every single stream. We need to focus on the things that we can control, which is our risk, our setup, our entry, our stop loss, things like that. We can control our mindset, our emotions, but we can't control where price ends up going. That's out of our control, right? Overall direction, what the market ends up doing, that's out of our control. So I don't focus on that, right? What I do focus is on trying to read and react to what the market is saying. So there is a possibility, guys, for price to pull back up all the way back up to this 103 level. We do have a nice order block right here as well that was created that could possibly send us lower, right? But for the time being, we might see a possible pullback up, which means dollar strength can potentially come into play. Or the market might just say, nope, we're not even worried about that. We're just going to go ahead and break that level and continue down to around the 100, the 99 level, which is somewhere that I actually think we can eventually go ahead and reach towards, right? I'm very, very interested, guys, in seeing price coming down to around the 99.5 level. All right, so either way, I think we're going to see price eventually go ahead and come down to this 99 level. Whether we break this level first and continue dropping, or we see a pullback, retest this order block up here, and then roll over, I still think we can see that. Now, again, some things that we have to keep in mind. Fundamental analysis, right? Because this data that's getting released tomorrow can easily change up everything that I'm telling you guys right now, right? Because with GDP numbers coming out tomorrow, and if we do go into quote-unquote a textbook recession, what is that going to bring into the markets, guys? Answer this in the chat, right? Is us going into a textbook quote-unquote recession going to cause optimism in the markets? Or is it going to cause uncertainty and fear in the markets? Let me know in the chats. What do you guys think? Right? What do you guys think? Let me know in the chats, right? Is us signaling a recession, quote unquote, is that going to cause optimism or fear in the markets? I mean, if think about it as if like you have $1 billion invested, right, into the stock market. As an investor with that much liquidity, with that much money, and us now, quote unquote, going into a recession, are you going to feel confidence of the market? Are you going to be confident of the stock market? Or are you going to be like, yo, I don't know, I'm a little nervous. I'm a little uncertain about what the heck is going on. Because based on tomorrow, we can see reactions in price because of that. Okay? This is why, for me, guys, I've been talking so much to you guys about fundamental analysis because fundamental analysis is what controls long-term direction. It's fundamental analysis and sentimental analysis what really creates direction in this market. Because investors, they start to take the data from the markets and they create sentiment around what the market is telling them. And then that's what causes long-term directions. So there is a possibility. With that said, right, and here's another question. If that does happen, and if more fear gets created tomorrow because of the fact that we now have a textbook recession that's occurring, and it's going to be all over the news, it's going to be headlines everywhere, what should we expect the dollar to do? Now, this is a trick question, especially if you're newer to my streams, right? If you're newer to my streams, this is a trick question. If you've been on my streams, you guys should know what's up. Right? Because if we are now experiencing fear in the markets, we are now going into more of a risk-off type of sentiment. Right? Let me go ahead and draw this out for you guys real quick, right? Because when we're trading sentiment, guys, we're pretty much trading two different ways of looking at it. Risk on. Right? We're dealing with risk on and risk off sentiment. Right? When there is fear in the markets, investors typically, or the markets itself, start pricing in more risk off sentiment. Now, what benefits in a risk off type of sentiment? Safer investments. Right? Well, let's go ahead and write this out for you guys real quick, right? During risk-on markets, right, when we have a riskier markets, when there's more optimism in the markets, people are more likely to invest in riskier assets, right? When there's optimism, okay, risk-on typically means that there's optimism or hope in the markets. When there's optimism or hope in the markets, guess what benefits? Stocks, right? We have crypto. Probably benefits from that. Riskier assets. We have commodities. I hope you guys are taking notes. Right? We have currencies like the AUD, the New Zealand, right? And the CAD, right? Commodity currencies as well. Right? During risk on markets, these are the things that typically benefit. Stocks, cryptos, commodities. Right, the Australian dollar, the New Zealand dollar, the Canadian dollar. But when we're in risk-off sentiment, right, and now there's a lot of fear in the markets. Again, risk-on, keep in mind, risk-on means that there's hope. Risk-on means that the risk is now turned on. Right, now you can be comfortable taking a little bit riskier, investments. Risk off means that the risk is off the table. Take everything that's risky off the table. Risk off sentiment, what will benefit in these type of market conditions? Well, let's go ahead and break this down. Who knows? Actually, I want to ask you guys this. Right? Who knows what benefits during risk off sentiment type of markets? Guys, this is important information, right? If you really want to take trading to the next level, yes, you have to understand technicals, but fundamentals is extremely, extremely crucial. You hear that? Mm-hmm. So for risk-off markets, right, one of the safest investments that a lot of investors typically do is, for one, U.S. bonds, super, super, super popular investment. Right, because typically it holds, obviously, when you are investing, how many of you guys know what a bond is? Right, when you are investing into a bond, you're pretty much loaning your money to the government, and they're going to give you interest back for a certain period of time. Right, that's what a bond is. Right, so during times of fear, when there's uncertainty in the markets, typically a lot of investors will get out of those riskier plays, and they'll go ahead and just start buying government bonds. And because they're buying those government bonds, they now have the ability to earn interest, pretty much it's really a coupon. That's what they call it. You get a coupon amount, but it's really interest on the money that you actually gave to the government. so that they can lock it up and use it for wherever they want, right? But bonds is usually a very safe play. But on top of bonds, we also have the safe havens, right? We have things like gold, which is typically used as a store of value that holds its value. We also have the other safe havens like the dollar, right? We have the Japanese yen. We have the Swiss franc. Again, these are currencies, guys, that are attached to larger economies that typically hold their value through chaos and uncertainty. Right? So we really have to start asking ourselves, right? What is the sentiment of the markets right now? Is there a case for us to possibly lean more risk on, or should we be leaning towards more risk off assets? Now, again, I asked you guys the question. With the possibility of us going into a recession tomorrow officially, that's going to cause potential fear in the markets. And when there's fear in the markets, that's going to lead towards more of a risk off sentiment that we have to be playing. All right, so again, depending on tomorrow, and also we have initial jobless claims, right? If unemployment numbers come out higher, if initial jobless claims come out higher, then that's only going to cause more fear in the markets, right? I'm trying to make this as clear as possible. When there is fear, we go risk off. Okay, write this down. When there is fear in the markets or uncertainty in the markets, we go risk off. These assets usually increase in value during risk off type of markets. Is this making sense, guys? Drop some sevens in the chat real quick. Drop some sevens in the chat. This is making sense. All right, while you drop sevens, I'm going to go get me a bottle of water real quick. But drop some sevens in the chat. You guys getting some value today, family? If you guys are getting some value, go ahead and like the video. If you guys are gaining value, go ahead and like this video if you haven't done it just yet. Let's see, risk off. We can't be throwing our billies on these high risk assets. Exactly. Right, we got the young legend in the building, my brother Jonathan. I appreciate you, bro, for tuning in. Shout out to my guy Jonathan Rubio. Appreciate you, bro. Yeah, right. There should be way more sevens, by the way. But if you're not able to comment in the chat, you have to be subscribed. You have to be subscribed. Right? If you want to be able to interact, family, again, I want to earn your subscription, though. Right? If you got some value so far, then go ahead and let me know by dropping a subscription. Right? So then you can go ahead and interact with us in the chat. It is that value you're not getting nowhere else. Right? There's not that many YouTube channels, unless you're going to like actual stock channels, right? From a Forex side, there's not that many Forex traders really talking about this. But fundamental analysis and sentimental analysis is extremely, 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 extremely important. I mean, that's what controls long-term direction. Right? So these are things that we have to be aware of. Let's see, how can I use fundamentals to help me in back testing? Right? That's a great question, right? Use historical data. Right? Look back at the previous releases for certain news and look at how the price reacts to it. Right? Like you can go back and look how the indices like SPX 500 reacts to GDP numbers coming out negative, right? Look at how price, like especially tomorrow where we have, negative GDP potentially coming out. Go in the past, look at last time we actually had 2 quarters back to back come out negative, which signaled a recession, and look at how the market reacted back then. Right? You're going to have to really just use historical data to identify that. But that's how you would backtest it. Right? But this right here is crucial, guys. So again, tomorrow is going to really tell us a lot. Right? Tomorrow is going to be really telling us a lot. Right? But in my opinion, I think we're definitely going to be more risk off still, just because of all the uncertainties, because inflation is still, going crazy. I still think we're very much so in risk off type of sentiment. I just think right now we're just seeing a correction in a lot of these safer type of plays. Okay. Let's see. No employment, no spending. Yeah. Right. Yep. That's very true. All right. So let's go ahead and now, guys, take a look at what we got going on here. Right. So for the dollar, like I said, we're at a very interesting level for the dollar. We do have the possibility, right? The potential. Let me go straight to lower time frame real quick, 4 hour. Right, we do have the potential for price to correct higher. Right, I truly think that we might see price come up, back to around this 102, 103 level. Right, and depending on how we pretty much play around these levels can really tell us a lot. Right, I mean, even this 102.3 level right here. Right, if for whatever reason, right, we end up seeing price come back above this level and break higher, then we're probably going to see price come all the way up to this 103.5, right? And if we come up to the 103.5, then depending on how price reacts around there, if we end up breaking that level, then, I mean, I'm expecting us to probably go bullish again, right? Because remember what I said, during risk-off markets, when we are in a risk-off type sentiment, because of fear and uncertainty, the dollar increases in value because of that, okay? Because now, if we're in riskier type of environments, nobody's spending money. Investors are going to be sitting on cash more than anything. And that's going to cause the value of it to go up. Right? But again, we do have numbers coming out tomorrow. It's going to be very interesting. Right? But without continuing to look at the dollar, guys, like I said, there's a lot going on with that. We'll really get a lot more of what we're looking at tomorrow. But right now, let's go ahead and take a look at actual assets that we could possibly get involved with and trade. Right, I want to take a look at gold just because gold is gold is it's a fan favorite. Right, gold is a fan favorite. So let's go ahead and take a look at gold. Right now, what I like to do, guys, right, I'm gonna give you guys a very simple strategy that I'm probably gonna make a video on Friday, right, an in-depth video on it. I'm gonna give you guys a little quick breakdown. Right, a very quick strategy that I like to utilize, and this is honestly something that I do every single day. Right, when I'm actively looking for opportunities to get involved with, this is exactly what I do. Right, obviously this is after I do all my fundamental analysis and all the sentiment, and I put all that together. This is from a technical standpoint. Right, when I'm doing technical analysis, the first thing that I typically want to do is identify the trend of the market. Right, I need to know what the flow of this market is. I need to understand what the overall trend is of this market. Right, because it's going to be, you're going to have a much higher probability to trade with the trend as opposed to going against it, especially if you're a newer trader. If you're experienced, then yeah, you can go ahead and catch some counter trends if you know what you're doing. Right, but if you're not too experienced just yet, then it's best to stay with the trend as opposed to try to go against the trend. Okay, write this down, guys, somewhere in your notes. I'm pretty sure a lot of you guys already got it, but for those of you guys that don't have it, write down that the trend is your friend to the very end. The trend is your friend until the very end. Right? That's very crucial. Especially if you're newer. Right? So the first thing I typically like to do is I like to identify what the trend is. I want to make sure that I understand the overall flow of what this market is truly doing. What is order flow looking like right now? The second thing I like to do is I like to identify key levels. Right? Major levels of structure that we can potentially utilize to find entries off of. Right? Because when I'm looking at key levels, guys, I'm usually looking at key levels because that's really where I want to take trades from. If I see price doing random stuff, creating random candlestick patterns, if we see an engulfing being created but it's not at a major key level, then that engulfing is invalid to me. Like, yeah, technically is an engulfing, but I don't care about it. I want to make sure when I'm reading my candlesticks or when I'm reading price action, then I'm reading it off of major key levels. Right? The third thing that I also like to do, guys, I like to identify my trading range. Right? And trading ranges are crucial for me. Right? Because it'll help me identify if we're still going to be looking for continuation type of plays or if it's time to go ahead and change the trend. Right? And then the fourth one is just obviously locate your entry, right? Identify entry point. Or identify points of interest, whatever you want to say. Right? Identifying your entry. But this is really what I want to look for. Right? Like, again, trading does not need to be complicated. Trading should be a very simple process, right? You need to keep things simple when it comes to trading. Very simple, right? Because we're already going to be dealing with so much more, guys, right? From a psychological standpoint. We're going to be dealing with so much more when it comes to even dealing with our own disciplines, right? Because the fact of the matter is, most of you guys on this call are probably not seeing the consistent results you want to see because you lack discipline. That's the biggest thing, right? Big shout out to Abihnav. I think I completely butchered your name. Abihnav, I appreciate you for subscribing. Welcome to the family. Thank you guys. Thank you for actually supporting and being a part of the familia. Family, go ahead and drop some welcomes in the chat. Right, go ahead and drop some welcomes in the chat for our newest subscriber, our newest family member in the building today. Bluetooth. Right, you know we all about showing love here. Bluetooth all about positivity and showing love. So go ahead and show some love. Right, drop some welcomes in the chat. The cool thing is as well, you get your name on the screen now. Right, so that's something that's pretty cool about this new update that I did, right? Anybody that's a recent subscriber, they get to show love. I am from India. Shout out to you, man. I can't wait to make my way out to India. Right, and really, really go out there as well. I look forward to that for sure. All right, so 4 things, guys, that I look for. Identifying the trend. Identifying key levels. Identifying the current trading range that we're playing off of. And then overall, I'm just looking for my entry right after that. Okay? So let's actually go ahead and get into that, guys, while looking at gold itself. Now, gold, we have to just keep in mind, you know, gold, we're just pretty much trapped in between a range right now. Right? We're trapped in between 1675, 1680, and pretty much 2075. Right? We're literally just stuck in between this range right now. We just been going sideways. I mean, pretty much since the pandemic pretty much started. Right? Like back in, like pretty much since the pandemic. Right? Once the pandemic really happened, we seen gold absolutely increase in value tremendously, right? Like it just flew like crazy. But ever since then, we pretty much just been going sideways, right? Really haven't had no real structure, no real direction of this market. But like I mentioned, right, during times of uncertainty, during times of fear, we have to be aware of these things, right? Because gold could potentially start to gain value because of the fact that we are starting to experience a lot more fear in the markets. Now, again, the gold lately, it actually sold off like crazy. But I don't think that that's going to last too long. Right? So identifying our trend, in my opinion, yeah, we're overall going sideways, but we're bullish here. Right? I think that we are bullish. In fact, if we're going to look at structure, we had higher high. Right? Market came all the way back down, right? Higher low, lower high, retest back to the lows, right? Then we just started creating some short-term lower highs, and then we had a higher low, higher high, higher low. Now we're at this ultimate higher high level compared to these highs, right? We had a lot of momentum that broke these highs. And then we had a higher low, lower high, and now we're just pulling back down into these levels of structure. Right, overall, it's been very, very choppy for gold. But I think, guys, we can actually see some upside for gold coming into play. Right, the last real strong impulsive move that we've seen was this push here. Right, so let's go ahead and identify some key levels now that we can pretty much try to play off of here for gold. Right, now when it comes to key levels, you don't need to get too carried away or too fancy, guys, when it comes to identifying these type of key levels. right? You want to just look at areas where you have seen price shift in the past, right? Right here, we had this key level right here. Price has acted as support and resistance numerous amount of times. Let me actually go ahead and highlight this with my highlighter, right? Let's see who else actually just subscribed. Shout out to our newest subscriber, Bean Dust. I love beats. Bean Dust, love beats. I appreciate you. Thank you for subscribing. Welcome to the family, guys. Go ahead and show some love in the chats as well. But if we look at this level right here, guys, right? This level has acted as both support, resistance, 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 then support, right? So if price was to come back up to this level, we can anticipate it to give us another reaction, right? That's why it is a key level. We identify areas of structure like this because these are the areas that we can potentially see a reaction from. It's either we're going to come up to here and react lower, or we're going to come up to here, break that level, see a retest of it, and then continue higher. Okay, but that is a major level of structure that we do have to be aware of and that we do have to pay attention to. Okay, but it is a key level, right? So that's how you identify those key levels. Again, don't get too carried away, right? You don't want to have a million different levels on the chart, right? I really look at higher time frame levels just so that I'm really aware of what's happening from a bigger perspective. All right, but we also have this level of structure right here that we're pretty much playing off right now, right? Then we also have this level of structure down here, all right, where we pretty much reacted from. And those are just the ones that I'm going to focus on for now, right? We also have minor levels inside, right? Like we also have this level right here of structure that we could also be playing off of, right? Which is honestly something we're going to be paying attention to, right? But these are some key levels. Okay, now let's go ahead and take a look at smaller time frames. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at some other smaller time frames. Right now, 4-hour time frame, guys. Now, again, remember what I said. My bias is bullish for gold. All right, because now I want to get into our trading range. Step number 3 is identify a trading range. Okay, so when I'm identifying a trading range, I'm really just looking for the swing low and the swing high of that impulsive move that has been created. Right here. Right here. Okay. Right there. Right there. This is that last impulsive move that we're pretty much seeing. That we've seen actually. This is the last impulsive move. So that creates our swing low to swing high. This is our current trading range that we're going to be trading in between. And this is important, guys, because as long as we do not violate this low, then overall, we still want to see more upside here for gold. I hope you guys get me. Right? I'm expecting more bullishness to come in because we're still playing above this demand zone, above this support level. Right? We had a nice strong reaction off of this demand zone. Right? This reaction also broke levels of minor structure here on these smaller time frames. Right? And you'll see it once we get to the smaller time frames for sure. But overall, I think that we see price pull back down. I really am interested in looking at price reach the 1825 level. And then from there, we could look for an opportunity to actually go ahead and go long on gold. All right, let's see what else we got here. I don't understand how the US index gains value and at the same time gold is gaining value. It happens, right? There's times where both currencies are gaining value, right? It is what it is. But if we really look at this, right, ever since the dollar has really been flying, right, ever since the dollar has been flying, gold has been tanking, right? Look at this. The dollar has been flying. Most recently, gold actually started to lose value. But a reason why both of them can gain strength at a certain point in time is because they're both considered that safe haven currency, right? People are going to be investing into the US dollar because, again, it's a currency that typically holds its value and is backed by the strongest economy in the world. But also gold is gold, right? Gold has been one of the strongest stores of value, I mean, forever, right? Like forever. So there are times where both of them can gain value at the same exact time. And typically, I mean, it happens, right? That's pretty much what it is. Let's see, any relation between the currency future index and the pairs index? That's a good question. Right, that's a really good question. And I'm not sure if there's a strong relation or a correlation between the two. I'm really not sure, right? But I'll definitely look into that for you and get that answer for you. All right, so overall, guys, this is what I'm looking at for gold, right? Going into tonight. Okay, we did see a nice bearish engulfing candlestick that happened on the daily. So I would not be surprised if we do see some more downside here for gold. Okay, I remember I want to see price come down to around this 1826 area for gold. All right, let me go ahead and show you guys my arrow. All right, again, I want to see if price can make its way down to here. Right, but if that's the case, then let's look at structure to see if we have evidence of price wanting to go lower. Look at this. All right, what have we been seeing from a structural standpoint? Higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, higher lows, higher highs. Right? For everybody that's new, when we are seeing a sequence of higher highs and higher lows, that is telling us that we are in an uptrending market. We are in a bullish market. Uptrend, bullish. Right? All means the same exact thing. But then look what happens. A lower low was created. Okay? A lower low was created because we have now just violated this swing low that we have here. Right? We just broke it. Right? So this is what we consider a break of structure. Right? Now, again, those breaks of structure, guys, can lead towards more downside. Right? Because it's pretty much how the market moves. Right? When we have an impulse, we see a correction that usually leads into another impulse. Right? That's a nugget. Write that down. Right? We have an impulse and then a correction that typically is going to lead into another impulse in the direction of the previous impulse, if we're going to stay in that trending market. But what we had here was we had price give us this higher high and then ultimately come down and break the swing low. Right? So I'm actually going to write BOS here, right? BOS stands for break of structure. Right? So we did see this break of structure here for gold in itself. Right? So now we can potentially see price eventually give us a move lower. But does that mean we're going to sell from these levels? I mean, it is possible. Right? It is possible. Right? We do have, some levels of structure right here. Right? We are playing below the 50 period moving average right here in the 1 hour. But do I think it's going to happen right now? I'm not sure. Right? I'm not sure. Price could easily stay below this 50, guys, and actually go ahead and roll over and drop. That's possible. All right, again, we did get the break of structure giving us clues of what can happen next. So there's going to be two different plays that I'm going to be looking for. Right? This is me personally, right? I think we might actually see, and this is just what I think, right? I think we can actually see price come back up to around 1860s. And then from 1860s, I think from there, we go ahead and sell off. That's my personal bet. All right, that's what I'm betting on for tonight. Let's see, newcomers trust King Abel. Been following him for years and still. I appreciate you, Anthony. I really do. Right, but I think we could see a deeper correction before we go higher. Now, why do I think that, right? Instead of just staying below this level of structure right here, which again, price could go here, guys. Again, I don't control what prices are going to do. I don't control the outcome of the actual markets. I don't. None of us do. Right? So price could sell off here. Right? And if you want to look for an opportunity to try to sell it here, then do your thing. Right? There's nothing wrong with that. Okay? There's nothing wrong with that at all. But the reason why I think we could go higher is because we also seen another shift on this smaller time frame. Let me show you guys what I mean by this. Right? So we had our last push down was what? This push right here. Right? This last drop right here. Okay? So we had this level of structure that was created right here. And this last strong push down is what really broke structure. But after we actually came below this level of structure right here, or this level of demand, price immediately turned around and shifted back up. Right? So what I mean by that, guys, is we see price came lower low right here, and then it immediately came all the way back up and broke back up above structure. Price pulled back now back to these levels of structure again. And based off this reaction, there is a possibility for price to actually push higher. But this is how we could do it. This is how we could play it. Right? You either wait for price to go ahead and come all the way back up higher, which again, I'm very interested. If we want to know my exact numbers, I'm very interested up here at around 1864s. If price comes all the way up to around 1864, I'm selling that. That's just me. I'm selling that. You don't have to do it, but that's what I'm doing, right? I'm looking for sells if we're able to get up there. Or if price ends up breaking back below, right? And it's something to keep aware of as well, right? And this is for anybody that's going to be awake, you know, that anybody that's going to be available to really look at price and play price action. If we end up coming back below, right, this level right here, this level of 1850s, then you might be able to also take an opportunity to short from right there and then just go ahead and write it down back to levels of structure down here to then go ahead and clear these lows. All right, so that's a possibility as well, guys, for gold. Right, it's either we're going to pull all the way back up. What I would like to see is 1864 and then drop, which again, that is asking for a lot. That's around 300, 400 pips. Or we see price break back below this level of structure right here at around 1850, and then we can look for a retest and then a continuation like that. Again, you can also utilize the moving average, which this is a 50 period EMA, the 50 period exponential moving average. You can also utilize that as a gauge to help you identify an entry as well, right? Because once we start trending, usually price loves to react and respect that moving average. I mean, look at right here, right? This is a good example. Last time we broke below the 50 and we started trending lower, look at how every time price dropped, it will pull back towards the 50 and then just continue dropping. Pulled back towards the 50 and it continued dropping, right? So we can potentially see a very similar play here right now if we're able to go ahead and truly break back below this 1850 level. Utilize the 50 period EMA as like it's like a barrier, right? That can help you really identify potential entries in the markets, right? So that's what I'm gonna be looking for, guys, going into tonight, going into tomorrow morning. Again, keep in mind things can change because we do have major news getting released. All right, but that's my bias for the gold, and that's what I'm gonna be looking for. Right, I think we can see a short-term sell-off before we go back bullish. Okay, I think we can see a short-term sell-off before we go ahead and go back bullish. Right, I'm going to be looking to buy when we're back down at around the 1826, 1827 level. Once we do get back down there, if we get back down there, I'll be buying all day long. All right, let's go take a look at other opportunities. See what we got here for USDJPY. Right, see what we got on the radar for this one. USDJPY, guys, has pretty much just been going sideways all week, right? We really haven't, I mean, besides this last drop that we seen, right, that happened yesterday, we ain't really been doing much, right? We opened up the week at around 127.3, and we're still today at around 127.3. I've been looking for selling pressure to come in for the dollar yen pretty much all week. Now, have I changed my bias on that? Not yet. I'm still looking for more downside for dollar yen as of right now. I would still like to see more selling pressure come into play, you know, and I think that we could really see it. All right, let's see. Did gold end on a lower high? Right, it did on the time frame, yeah, on the smaller time frame it did. Right, let me go back to before I get in depth with you, let me just answer these questions real quick. So why wouldn't the 1880 levels be considered structure for gold? It probably is. All right, let's go back to the bigger time frame right now. Right, 1880s. You're talking about around these levels right here. I mean, it could be, right? But those are more so, they're levels of structure, but they're smaller time frame levels of structure. right? Every single time frame, guys, is gonna have its own levels of structure that have their own levels of importance. For me, I'm very big on identifying higher time frame levels of structure, and those are the ones that I really like to play off. But that doesn't mean that these lower time frame levels of structure are insignificant, right? Because they could definitely still play a role, right? Especially if they say we're looking at this thing from like these time frames right here, right? And if we see price go ahead and break above this 1880, then that could just be another area that we utilize to continue getting us into those higher levels of structure, right? I use my higher levels as like my main areas, my main bigger points of interest, but I use lower levels of structure to help me identify entry points and reactions that can allow me to actually get in so that I can ride it to those big levels. All right, I hope that makes sense. All right, so let's go back to UJ now, guys. So again, I think we can really still see some more selling pressure for UJ here, right? I truly think so. But this is what I'm gonna be looking for UJ, right? I really think if we are gonna continue bearish, then we're probably gonna really see some more downside from this level that we're at now, right? That's a possibility. The only thing that I'm really not liking about UJ right now is how we're pretty much, how long we're staying up at this level of structure right here, right? Because right now we're just in this little choppiness, right? In this little correction pattern right now, we're just chilling around in this correction right here. So this is what I'm gonna be looking for. I'm leaning towards a sell-off. That's still my bias. I still think that we could expect more downside here for UJ. In fact, I'm still in opportunities selling UJ that I've been in. All right, let me just take a look at this real quick. Yeah, so I'm still in some opportunities right now for UJ, right? As you guys can see, I'm a little negative right now, right? I have one trade in profit and I have one entry in the negative, right? But overall, I'm still down on UJ, right? From selling opportunities around these areas. This is what I'm going to do though, right? My stop loss for UJ is up here at around 127,700s. Right? Because if price does have a lot of momentum and it ends up stopping me out, it is what it is. Guess what? I'm not going to cry. I'm not going to complain. I'm going to accept it and I'm going to deal with it. But then what I will do is I'm going to utilize that data, right, from that stop loss getting hit, and I'm going to take the fact that, man, there must be a lot of bullish momentum coming into play, and then I'll be looking for a retest back down, and then at that point, I might just be expecting a bullish move for UJ to come into play, and then I'll just go have to readjust my bias, right? Because that's what the best traders do, guys, right? We don't stress about taking a loss, right? And that's one thing that newer traders really have to get comfortable with as soon as possible, right? You have to be comfortable with taking losses, right? If you want to be a professional trader, then you have to be a professional in all aspects of the game. Right, that's like you asking let's talk about like professional sports, right? A professional athlete, they're getting paid big bucks to be a professional, win or loss, right? Because it's just not their ability to dribble the ball or hit the ball or none of that, right? It's not just their skill set when it comes to playing ball, but it's also their ability to be professional even during a time where they're not winning, right? Which is why all professional athletes now also have to be professionals even when they're getting asked questions from the media, right? If you're not a professional nowadays in sports and you don't want to do media day or you don't want to do the things that come along with being a professional athlete, then you're going to get fined. You're going to get in trouble. Same thing with trading, right? We have to be a professional in every aspect. So we have to learn how to become professionals at taking losses. That's a bar. Write that in the chat for me, guys. That's a nugget. That is a nugget. That is a nugget. You have to learn how to be a professional loss taker. And that's a tough one for a lot of people. When I sell them and miss by 2 pips here, right? That's a tough one for most people. You have to learn how to be a professional loss taker. How do you learn how to become a professional at taking losses? Right? How do you do it? You manage your emotions. You control your emotions. You can't eliminate your emotion. I can't stand when traders say that. Man, you have to eliminate your emotion. You can't. We're human beings. You can't eliminate emotions. It's impossible. But you can manage them. You can control them. Right? You have to learn as well to take the lesson, or take the lesson that comes from a loss. That's how you become a professional loss taker. Right? What lesson did that loss teach you? Because if you learn from the loss, then you absolutely were able to learn a lesson. But if you take a loss and you don't try to learn from that loss, then that's all it really is just a loss. And that's disgusting. You don't want to just take a loss. Like, that's ugly. You have to learn how to take a loss and turn that loss into a lesson. It just feels better. Right? Overall. Right? I just feel way better when I'm actually able to analyze the loss and be like, oh, okay, this is what happened. This is where I went right. This is where I went wrong. Man, there was nothing I could do about this loss. It's just one of those losses that the market got me. It is what it is. Charge it to the game. It just makes you feel better. Right? So start learning how to turn your losses into lessons. Don't allow a loss to just be a loss. But learn from it. That's how you become a professional loss taker. Right? Because you can't just be a professional winner without being a professional loser. There's nothing wrong with that. But it's all how you respond to these things, guys. Right? It's important to learn how to respond to these things. Let's see, I am most definitely a professional loss taker, right? Love them. You have to neutralize emotions. Exactly. This is nuggets. Right? So again, even if UJ does decide to pop back up with a lot of momentum, that's cool. I'll reanalyze the market. I'll use logic to make my next decision. And then I'll go ahead and just deal with what happens with that. Right? I'll just deal with what happens with that. Right? Shout out to Dorothy in the chat. I appreciate you. Welcome to the subscriber family. I appreciate you for subscribing. Definitely means a lot to me. Every single one of you guys that have been subscribing, it means a lot to me. And it just encourages me to continue dropping these videos for y'all. Right? And doing these live streams. So what, Dorothy, I appreciate you. Welcome to the family. Right? So UJ, that's where I'm at, guys. Like I said, I'm already in a selling opportunity here for UJ. I'm in the negative right now. It's not a big deal. It is what it is, right? If I take a loss, and I'm not going to cry or complain about it, like I said, I'm just going to accept it. And we'll just go ahead and look for the next opportunity when it shows itself, right? But my opportunity was something like this, right? Just expecting more bearishness for the dollar to pretty much come into play, right? So that's pretty much what my setup is looking like, guys, here for UJ. You know, we'll just see what happens, right? Like I said, win or lose, it is what it is, right? Win or lose, it is what it is, okay? Let's go take a look at a few other setups. So we got Euro USD. See what we got here for the Euro. Wagwan Fiji. Wagwan Fiji. All right, so for Euro. Again, very interesting, guys, right? Honestly, I might be on the sideline for Euro just because I'm very iffy about the dollar itself right now, too. I'm not even going to lie. Right, but for the Euro, I think that we could see some downside for the Euro coming into play. Right, I think we might see some selling pressure for the Euro. Right, which means we might see some bearishness for tonight going into tomorrow for the Euro. Right, so I'm very interested in looking for some shorting opportunities here going into tonight. Right, in fact, I mean, pretty much what we're playing off right now is looking like some juicy areas to look for some shorts here for the Euro. Right, but what I would be doing, again, just to be a little bit safe on the safe side, right, what you can do is simply see how price reacts to this 50-period moving average. A break below the 50-period moving average, a break below structure can trigger potentially more downside for the Euro itself. Right, so what I'm going to be looking for, let me highlight this level for you all. All right, I really want to see what price eventually does around this key level here, right? Because right now we have this high up here that we're going to be playing off of, but we also have this low down here as well, right? Realistically, we could play either or, right? Either side. Price breaks here, retest, continuation, right? Again, I think we're going to see more downside for the Euro USD personally, my personal opinion. I think we're going to break this one and continue dropping. But if price was to say go ahead and break above here, then at that point, I think we have more upside to around the 1.072. Now, again, I'm being honest, guys, right? I am playing a little bit more cautious, right? Just because this week, the markets have been very choppy this week, right? It really hasn't been the best week for trying to ride trends because we really haven't done much. I mean, again, look at this, right? We had this, the 22nd of May is when the market opened, right here, right? We had this one push up, right? Which that would have been a nice move to catch. But ever since then, we just been going choppy, right? We just been very, very choppy. So we got to be mindful of that. But I believe we can really go ahead and see more downside, right? But I really want to see a break of this level right here. Right? I want to see a break of 1.06, 1.068. If we can break below that 1.068, then I think we can see some more downside for the euro. Okay, and then I'm going to be targeting. My target will be, you know, somewhere down here. Let me go ahead and show you guys. All right, my target is going to be somewhere around, come on. Yeah, it's definitely going to be back to structure over here, right, around 1.06 level. All right, so that's really what I'm leaning toward. That's probably what I'm going to be taking. Now, again, that is going against what I'm talking about for USDJPY, so it's something I have to be aware of, right? Because selling the euro while also selling UJ, it typically doesn't play out that way. But I don't know why. For some reason, something is telling me that I think we can see some more selling pressure for the euro. So it is what it is, right? If I'm selling the UJ just because I'm already in it, I'm going to let it play out, right? I really don't like getting in the habit of trying to get in and out of trades just because I get emotional, right? I like to play things out and just let it do what it does and then just deal with the consequences. So this is a possibility. If it happens, it happens. If we get that break and closure, I'll be looking for the sell. If not, then I'm not in it. Right? If we end up breaking up higher, then we can also look for a retest 1.07 to go ahead and get us up to around 1.075. Right? So that's something very quick. Like I said, I might not even take any type of trade for Euro USD tonight, just because again, I'm really uncertain with what this pair is actually going to do. GBP USD. What did we see for GJ or for GU? I mean, right? GU did see a lot of momentum, at least for today, right? We've seen some bullishness come into play, but again, very similar. Like we really haven't been seeing much all week, right? Like it's pretty much just been going sideways, like literally just going sideways, right? Like look at this, right? We just been going sideways this entire time, like this entire week, and that's pretty much how a lot of these pairs have been this week, right? And sometimes, guys, when we see that the markets are very, very choppy, right, it's either you're playing scalps, right, you're taking short scalps off the high and the low of the range, or you're just sitting out, right? I said this earlier, right? Sometimes the best trade is the one that you don't end up taking, right? Part of money management, all right, listen to this. Part of money management, guys, is knowing when not to stay in the markets, is knowing when not to get in. If there's nothing clear, then there's nothing for you to take. Right now, we're just seeing a lot of choppiness, and it's probably because of anticipation of all the news that we have tomorrow. So I'll rather wait till tomorrow morning, see how the market reacts off of the data, and then from there we could potentially make a decision. Okay? I hope that makes sense. Let's see, how did you practice when you were in your learning phases? All right? It's very similar to how I do it today too. Right, for one, I'm putting in the chart time, right? The chart hours is very, very, very important. And when I say chart hours, actually back testing, right? Yeah, it's important to try to analyze things in real time like this, guys, but you're going to gain a lot more confidence through actual back testing of the markets, right? We all have access to this replay tool right here in the top of TradingView, right? There is a replay tool that allows us to back test the markets. Utilize it, right? Go back years from now, like scroll all the way back years from now, go using the replay tool, erase it, and then start playing it in real time and start looking for the setups that look best for you, taking the actual setup, like actually setting up the opportunity, and then press the replay tool and then see how it plays out, right? You know where confidence comes from? This is a bar. Do you guys want to know where confidence comes from? Confidence comes from competence. This is a bar. Okay? Confidence comes from you being competent in something. The only way that you become competent in something is through either experience or you actually testing whatever it is that you're working on. So if you want to become a more confident trader, then you have to become a more competent trader. That's a gem. The only way you gain your competence as a trader is by actually backtesting, or one of the best ways is through actually backtesting the markets. I don't know why I'm swinging this water bottle like I am, but I'm talking to you guys because, like when I'm swinging this thing, because I want y'all to get me. Right, but yeah, like right now we're not really seeing much. Right, we're just seeing a lot of sideways price action here for GU. Right, so even for this one, guys, you know, again, it is what it is. Right, this market when it's sideways, it's best to stay out of it. Right, when there's really no direction in this market, it's best to avoid trading it. Wait for the data to come out tomorrow. Wait to see how price action reacts, and then based off tomorrow's news release, we might be able to go ahead and really create some type of bias. But right now, we're really not doing much. We're just going sideways. We're very choppy, and it's literally happening for a lot of these pairs. Right, so for GU, I really don't have nothing. Even for GJ is very choppy as well this week. Right, we had this break of structure right here. Right, for one, we had a massively strong impulse. Price ended up giving us a complex correction. Right, nice three-wave correction back into structure. And ever since we came back into structure, we've been pretty much trapped in between the highs of 161,700 and the lows here of 158. Now again, that's around a 300 pip range. So you can possibly just scalp the highs and the lows of these ranges during this period in time. There's nothing wrong with that. Right? But overall, we really haven't been doing much. Again, same thing. We just been very, very choppy this entire week. Right? Again, I am, for the most part, I'm a trend trader. I like to identify trends, and I like to ride out with the trend. That's me, right? I like to identify a trend, and I like to ride with the trend. So when the market is choppy, we don't have no trend. Right? We have maybe an overall bigger trend, yeah. But I would rather wait for a little bit more data to really figure out what's been happening. Right? So even for GJ, we're really not seeing much. Right? Eventually, I want to see us go bullish. That's my bias overall. Like, eventually, I believe we might see price really spike up and continue going higher. That's a possibility for sure. But we have to be patient. Okay? We have to be patient and really see when price is ready to actually go ahead and do that. Or, if I'm looking for a long-term buy, then when we get back down into these lows, then I might be willing to go ahead and take an opportunity. Right? Like, price come back down into here, into this demand zone. Then yeah, down in this demand zone, if I'm looking for a buy, a long-term buy, down in this demand zone is really where I'll be tempted to take a trade, just because the risk to reward is going to be dope, right? The risk to reward is going to be really, really good. So if we come back to the demand zone, then I'll be looking to buy all day long, right? Because again, I'm lining myself up with what I believe long-term we can actually see. But for right now, like I said, we're just trapped in between these levels. We're just trapped in between this range. So again, if you know what you're doing, you can look for scalps and just play off the high and the lows if you know what you're doing. Let's see what else we got here. Oh my God, thank God I made it on, my brother. You know that I'm from Jersey. Shout out to my Mr. Rashid. I appreciate you. Right, from Jersey. Shout out to all my New Jersey folks. Right, my New York folks. I'm from New York personally, born and raised in upstate New York. Shout out to the 518. Schenectady, stand up. I know most of y'all probably never heard of Schenectady. Right, it's the most lit city in the world. No, I'm lying. There ain't really nothing there. All right, it's where GE is actually located, General Electric. So we're pretty much powering all of your guys' electricity. It's like, I don't know if it is anymore, but yeah, shout out to anybody in New York, right? Shout out to anybody in New York, New Jersey, anybody in the urban areas for sure. I appreciate every single one of y'all, right? Because coming where I'm coming from, I never had access to people, right, that were teaching me this information. Like I never did, right? I had access to people that were doing the wrong things, right? We'll leave it at that, right? I had to force my way into really getting access to people that truly were helping me grow, right? So trust me, I know what it's like. coming from crazy situations. But yeah, GJ, very interesting, guys. Overall, who knows what's gonna happen. Now, as for the indices, right? US 30, SPX, NAS. I'm really just gonna analyze SPX 500, just because it's like the one that's utilized as a gauge to really predict the economy. We're at very, very interesting times right now. If you ask me, I think, and I could be wrong, but I believe we're gonna see some more downside here for SPX, right? Especially if, again, if we come out that a recession is really gonna happen, then I mean, guys, that's not gonna bring no optimism in the markets, right? Like, if a recession is validated tomorrow, and I could be wrong, and if I'm wrong, I accept it. It is what it is. But I see more downside. Like, I see us continuing to sell just because that's going to add even more fear in the markets, right? So I think we could really see some more selling pressure for SPX coming into play, right? Definitely by the morning time, okay? So what I think can happen, I think we might be able to see price either sell off from where we're currently at, right, which is, again, very, very possible that we sell off from where we're currently at right now, right, around this, what, 39.80 level, 39.90, right, or price might actually want to spike up to around the 40.50, 4,058, and then from there, we actually go ahead and sell off. But overall, I think we're definitely going to continue selling off, all right, and again, I could be wrong, and if I'm wrong, I'll know I'm wrong by a break of this level right here. If we go ahead and break above 4,100, then we're probably going to experience more upside, right? But for now, I think we're going to go ahead and sell off either from level that we're at now or the 40.60 level that we have up here, especially based off news that's coming out tomorrow. Let's see, I got in you for a buy at one point this morning, and my TP is 1, but I think it could run to the previous day's low. I mean, it's possible, right? It is possible, Marv. It is. All right, Euro been doing a lot of nonsense. Let's see, AK the Disciplined Trader in the building. Okay, Disciplined Trader, I appreciate you, Mr. Rashid, for real. I appreciate your passion, my brother, and great book, by the way. Thank you. Definitely means a lot. Abel on EYL this year. That would be fire, right? Shout out to them EYL boys. Earn your leisure. I appreciate them. I learned a lot from watching their podcast for sure. And them boys do be talking a lot about from a fundamental standpoint as well, right? Because, you know, they talk heavy on stocks, right? So anybody that really watches EYL, right, the Earn Your Leisure crew, which is a podcast, a really well-known podcast, they talk about a lot of freaking topics, right? But they're very good at also understanding fundamental analysis, right? And that's the thing, right? You can go to a lot of stock traders that know how to interpret fundamentals, know how to read or understand economics, and utilize that information to help you out as a Forex trader. There's nothing wrong with that. You could definitely do that. Let's see. Euro pound looks clean. GA has been consolidating for days. GA looks like a mess. Literally been going sideways for God knows how long. How do you feel about news manipulation? I mean, that's a very tough subject, right? Because obviously there's so many different people that think so many different things, right? Obviously news, people that think news can be used as manipulation. I mean, sometimes it does happen, right? But I also don't like to just look at it as that, right? Because news in itself is typically, it could be manipulation sometimes, but I'm more of it just seen as, you got to understand, when news occurs, right? News is usually already priced into the markets before the actual news release happens. So even like GDP numbers coming out tomorrow, right? It's predicted to come out negative, but it's already being priced in. If you don't think that investors have already been positioned themselves for this news release tomorrow, then you're tripping, right? So what a lot of people like to call manipulation, other people like to just say it's something that was bound to happen because, again, all this stuff is already priced in, and now it's just easier liquidity grabs that could occur. Right, that's why it's important to really just understand that. Where was I going with this? Yeah, that's what I'm saying, right? Just gotta understand, guys, right? Really trade the rumors. You really have to understand that rumors are key. You have to trade the rumors, right? Trade the rumors, not the facts, right? Because again, a lot of people say manipulation, but in reality, it's just price taking out the easier players, right? It's just price taking out the people that are trying to play the actual facts that are coming out, when in reality, people should have been positioning themselves way earlier, right? Way before this data, right? That's why it's important to play the rumors, not the facts. The rumors, not the facts, right? Investors have already been positioning themselves for this data to come out tomorrow, weeks ago, probably months ago. That's just how I feel, right? Like I said, it's a very, very hit or miss subject, though. I could be completely wrong with that, but I know for a fact that you really want to trade the rumors, though. Let's see, cough me cough, right? Let's see, we are currently in a recession. I think so for sure. I love how you break this down and analyze the markets. I appreciate you, Linda. Thank you so much. All right, what are your thoughts on gold? We pretty much looked at gold already, but I'll give you guys another breakdown of it. Again, gold is another one that really hasn't done much all week, like at all. We opened up the week at around 1843, right? And price is pretty much very, very close to it. I think that we see more downside for gold personally. I don't know why. I'm leaning towards that just based on what we're seeing. Like, I would love to see more selling pressure to come in for gold, but I also wouldn't be surprised if it flies. If I'm going to be honest with you guys, family, the only trade I'm probably going to be in today is just the UJs that I've been in, just because I've been riding them out already all day, right? But besides USDJPY, I'm probably not going to take no trades until I see what happens with GDP tomorrow, right? I'm just chilling. I'm going to be on the sidelines, right? I'm going to be on the sidelines just watching and just waiting and seeing what price ends up doing, right? Again, sometimes you have to sit on your hands. Sometimes you have to stay out the market. So you don't have to trade every single day. That's a huge misconception that is out there, that you have to trade every single day. The best traders, I'm going to be honest, the best traders don't trade every single day. The best traders trade when it makes sense, when they have a logical plan in front of them, when they have a logical trade idea, a logical setup in front of them. Right? But the thing is with newer traders, and again, I feel like I'm picking on the newer traders, but I'm just picking on myself as well because I experienced this. Right? But newer traders want to trade every single day, or they place trades every single day because they feel like they need to. You don't need to trade every single day. Sometimes you got to take a step back and be like, yo, I don't understand what the market is doing. I can't read this market. Take a step back. If it's not clear, and if the setup is not smacking you in the face, like, yo, I'm right here, I'm the setup and I'm right here, take me, then why are you even forcing a trade? You don't need to trade every single day, family. I promise you don't. Right? Sometimes in the market, less is more. Less is more sometimes. Right? But I think we have some more downside for gold. That's just my opinion. My personal opinion. All right, let's see what else we got here. NAS 100. I mean, NAS 100 is pretty much going to be the same as like what I'm looking at for SPX, but NAS as well. I mean, these markets, guys, have been extremely, extremely choppy, right? Even these indices. Like, we have not done a damn thing for NAS at all, like whatsoever. All right, like, look at this, right? Like, since the start of this week, we've been in the same exact level. Like, we just been ranging in this entire range, right? But what I would be interested to see for NAS is, again, I'm still thinking we're going to have more bearishness to come in. That's just my opinion, right? I see more selling of the indices coming in. So what I think we happen, or what could possibly happen, if we do see NAS end up spiking up higher, right, I think we're going to see something like this, right, that happened a few weeks ago, where we had a massive, massive impulse of momentum to the bullish side, possibly just capturing liquidity. I wouldn't be surprised if we seen something like that occur, just because this entire range, guys, is a very, very interesting level where there's probably a lot of liquidity right above it. But if we do that, I would be personally looking for some shorts off of this. That's just me, right? I think we could really go ahead and see more selling pressure, right? But again, I'm chilling outside of the markets for now. I'll see what the markets end up doing. If tomorrow during GDP, though, I'm telling you guys right now, if tomorrow, based off the news release, if we end up spiking up higher for NZD or for NAS 100, I'm going to take a crack at shorting it, right? Especially if we have, you know, again, utilizing volume, especially if we have like a very low type of momentum push to this upside that gets completely, that just no momentum behind it, I'm selling the hell out of that. I'm selling the hell out of that. That's just my opinion. I'm selling the hell out of it. Let's see. All right, gang, brother. Appreciate you, 20 pips. Let's see. I prefer to use the global rates than look at news. Yeah, you know, that works. Whatever works for you. Right? Whatever works for you. Whatever works for you, man. Like, I support it. All right? There's 1,000 different ways to trade these markets, guys. Right? I need you guys to understand it. There are 1,000 different ways to trade this market. 1,000. You got to just find what works for you and don't let nobody tell you otherwise. Because if it works for you, then stick with it. Right? That's one of the biggest lessons that I've learned this week personally. Right? Is to stick with what works for you. Stick with your bias. Stick with what you know works for you. And don't let nobody get you away from that. That's a big lesson that I learned this week. This week I learned that again. Right? Even though I already knew that, but this week just reiterated it once again. Stick with what you know and stick with what works for you. Let's see what we got. What do you suggest as the best broker right now to open accounts with too? Right, that's a great question. Right, so I actually have 2 brokers that I'm gonna recommend. Right, there's a broker that I've been using recently called Henkel Trade. Right, called Henkel Trade. That's one that I've been really utilizing lately. Henkel Trade. Right, I actually have a link in the description down below with that one, if you want to have access to that. And then there's another one that I'm also utilizing as well. Actually, there's 2 other ones. I have a lot of different accounts, guys, right? I have different accounts with different brokers. Obviously, Henkel Trade is the one that I'm really leveraging the most right now, right? But I also have an account with FX Sway, which is a pretty good broker, right? I've been using them for a little bit, right? I've only been with FX Sway realistically for only maybe 4 months, though, right? So, I mean, for the most part, they've been pretty good. I actually know the owner of that broker, too, which just gave me a lot of confidence with that broker. But I also have been using Nash Markets. Right, Nash Markets realistically is probably one of my favorites. Like one of my favorites, right? Nash Markets has been absolutely dope, right? I'm actually probably gonna start utilizing them a lot more again. Right, I actually still have money in an account over there that I just pretty much haven't even been trading, right? Because I've been using Henkel Trade. But Nash Markets is probably going to be one of my favorites for sure, and that's probably gonna be the one that I really start focusing on a lot more. But you can't go wrong with any of them. Henkel Trade is good. FX Sway is good, and Nash Markets is good. I mean, for whatever good is, right? Utilizing an unregulated broker. Let's see. Facts, brother Abel. My discipline allowed me to trade the London session 19 trades with 3 losses. Let's go. That's amazing. For 19% gains. That's crazy. Right? Shout out to you for that, right? 19% gains in one day is absolutely amazing. I was done within less than 1 hour. So you made 19% gains in 1 hour? That's impressive. I hope that while you were doing that, you were also being disciplined, right? Because I love to see people make crazy gains on their account, but I don't like to see people have massive success and make crazy gains while being undisciplined in the markets. Right? I hope that makes sense, right? Because again, I'll rather people create. And this is me being 100% honest with you guys. I'd rather you experience smaller growth in the markets, right? Making 2 to 3% a day while being disciplined, while utilizing proper risk management, compared to somebody coming in and over leveraging and making massive gains, right? Because it's all about the habits at the end of the day, right? So if you were doing that, I see you said I was very disciplined. And then shout out to you. That's amazing then, right? Shout out to you. I hope you make another 20% tomorrow. That's amazing. Right, that's amazing. Let's see. How do you choose your broker? All right, that's a great question, right? Obviously, for a lot of people, it's usually through recommendations. And then from there, right, it's just all about you trial and error, right? You actually testing that broker out for yourself. You testing the withdrawals. You seeing how big the spread is, right? You seeing what the commissions are like. All that stuff is important. You seeing, how their liquidity provider works. All that stuff works, all right? But you really got to just, obviously, it starts from a recommendation, but from there, you really just got to test it out yourself. Did you have an aha moment that made you more consistent? Yeah, when I became more disciplined. Right? When I became more disciplined. Right? When I started developing the correct habits. That's when the aha moment started to come. Like I said earlier, guys, right? It's usually not people's ability to do technical analysis that kills them. Technical analysis is very easy to do. That's the easy part. But are you being disciplined? Are you following your rules? That's the hard part. Are you able to control your emotions? Right? The motion aspect, I really didn't have too much issue when it came to controlling my emotions personally. It was my discipline that I really lacked in. I had tremendous amount of time over leveraging. Like, I knew exactly what I was supposed to be doing, but I would not do it. How many of you guys can relate? How many of you guys can relate? Right? I know exactly what I should be doing. I used to know, back in the day, I really struggled with this, right? Where I knew exactly what I should and shouldn't do, but I still did not follow those rules, even though I knew I should have did it. Right? And then I'll get upset at myself when I blew this account, when I blew that account, when I blew this, when I blew that. And I couldn't be upset at nobody but myself, because I know that I wasn't being disciplined. I know that my mentor said, don't over leverage, Abel. Don't over leverage. Don't over leverage. But what did I do? I went and I over leveraged. Right? That's why I say all the time, guys, awareness and discipline are two habits that every professional trader has. Right? You have to have a high level awareness to understand what is going right and what is going wrong. But you have to have massive discipline to also follow through with what you know you're supposed to be doing. So once I stopped playing around with this and I started putting discipline in the forefront, that's what really changed everything for me. Let's see. Can you link all your accounts to trading account? To trading account? What do you mean by that? Can you link all you link them to MT4? Yeah, to MT4 is what you do to all of them. Right? Correct. Right, you can link all those brokers to MT4. I personally utilize MT5, right? Especially with Nash Markets. I have MT5 with Nash Markets. Right, I like MT5 a lot better than MT4 personally. But yeah, you can link them right to the trading platform. Let's see, William, is there a link or so you can make a trade on one account and it mirrors to the others? Oh, okay, you're talking about like a trade copier, right? There's a lot of different trade copiers out there, Anthony, that you could utilize to where you can link your accounts. I personally don't want to recommend any, right? Because I don't want to put my name behind any of that, but there are a bunch out there, right? So you could definitely go ahead and find those out there for sure. I feel like my strategy changes 3 times before I finish back testing sessions, right? Just put those strategies together. You got to figure out which one works best for you and you just stick with that. Me, that was my story for a long time until I found IM. What are your thoughts on KOT? KOT Forex isn't bad. I had KOT Forex as well, probably like a year and a half ago, 2 years ago. They really, I mean, this is the thing, right? Pretty much all unregulated brokers, guys, are pretty much going to be the same thing, right? Unregulated brokers are unregulated offshore broker, right? They're all going to offer the same thing, you know, cryptocurrency withdrawals and deposits, which is the major benefit because you're able to deposit and withdraw very, very quickly. You know, again, they are unregulated, so you really pretty much don't know what you're going to get from them unless you actually test them out. But they're all pretty much one and the same. All right, so KOT Forex, the same thing. What is the difference between MT4 and MT5? Right, shout out to Jabril in the building. I appreciate you. Right, shout out to you being the most recent subscriber. Thank you very much for actually subscribing to the channel. I appreciate you so much. We also got Renee in the building. Shout out to you, Renee, as well for subscribing. I appreciate you. Thank you for showing love, for being a part of the family. Right, we also got Juan Carlos in the building. What's going on, Juan Carlos? Shout out to you as well for subscribing. I'm not sure. That's crazy. We just had 3 people subscribe just like that. But I appreciate you as well for being a part of the family. Thank you so much. Hopefully you're able to gain some value from this session. But differences between MT4 and MT5, there's a lot of little differences, right? Like MT5, in my opinion, is just easier because you're actually able to do so much more, right? Like one of the big benefits that I like about MT5 is that you're actually, for one, you're able to actually like really scroll like through the actual chart. Like you can actually zoom it in, zoom it out, right? You can do so much to it. Another thing about MT5 is that you can actually edit your stop loss and your take profit directly on the screen. Like you can actually click it and move it up and down right on your actual screen as well, right? And there's just a lot more different features. I actually might make a video for you guys right here on YouTube. I'll probably end up making a video for you guys really just explaining the differences, right? Because there is a lot of them But I just like it, right? It's a lot more convenient for me. There's a lot of little things that just make more sense. But the only downfall is that not every broker is compatible with MT5, right? A lot of people stick with MT4 because usually the broker that they use don't support MT5 just yet. But MT5 is lit, all right? I'm a big fan of MT5 for sure, right? But family, this is pretty much going to be it for tonight. I do appreciate every single one of you guys for jumping on. If you guys just now tuned into the session, just now jumping on, I highly recommend you to go ahead and rewatch this. We did talk about a lot of sauce, a lot of value, a lot of information, so please rewatch this video. You should be able to get a lot of value from it, and I hope you're able to really go ahead and gain value and just utilize it to your advantage. Let's see, on the Telegram, are you able to let us communicate with you or other team members? I wish to continue to support you and bring in more people. Yeah, I actually have another chat, right? Literally, go to the top. Like, one of the pinned messages in that chat, in the channel itself, is to the communicative chat. Right? So, yeah, 100%. Right? I do have it. Right? Go ahead and make sure that you're a part of the chat, the circle, that chat that we have here. And we talking there every single day. Right, like we in there talking mad stuff, right? We're really in there dropping a lot of value. So yeah, make sure you're in there for sure. But family, I appreciate you guys. I love you guys. Thank you guys for rocking with me tonight. It's been another phenomenal session. Again, please rewatch this video if you guys have not watched it or if you just came late, and you will get a lot of value from this video, I guarantee it. And I will be back on tomorrow, same time, same place, bringing you guys more value, more sauce. Tell a friend to tell a friend. Let's make sure we get these numbers up, guys, because I cannot do this without y'all. I do want to be the #1 Forex trader on YouTube, providing you guys real value, no fluff, straight to the sauce, straight to the value. And I can only do it with your guys' help. But family, I appreciate y'all. I love you guys. And I will see you guys all tomorrow. And I'll see you guys also in the Telegram, where we go ahead and we talk more stuff. All right, family, I appreciate y'all. Love you guys. Hope you guys have a phenomenal rest of your guys' day. I'm out of here. Let's get it.